Today we're going to talk about SVGs. An SVG is a file format called Scalable Vector Graphic. So we've learned a long time ago that images like JPEGs, PNGs, GIFs, those are raster images. They are made up of pixels, and pixels can shrink down pretty easy. It's not a problem. But pixels growing, making the images larger, that can be a problem. They don't scale up. Vector graphics, as we know, those graphics that we make in, say, Illustrator, they can be made at any size and scaled up or down without any loss of quality. So I want you to think about something like a logo. If you have a logo at one smaller size on your website, but you need it really large on another, you would have to create two separate files. Now, though, with SVGs, we don't have to do that. So let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. So right here you can see I've got a kiwi right here, the bird. It is a JPEG. Now, this kiwi is set to scale with my div. So right now my div is at 50% and the width of the kiwi is 100. So right here it's a little faded, but it looks fine. But if we start growing this, you can see it starts looking pretty messed up, right? There's some pixelation going on. And let's say I may have to make this even larger, 75%. Well, now it's looking really bad, right? Again, scaling down, not a problem, but we scale it up, it doesn't look so great. But let's talk about what happens if we turn it into an SVG. We just change this right here to an SVG, and immediately, even here, look at how much cleaner this looks. Look how much crisper this is, right? We shrink it down, it looks great. We shrink it up, it looks even better, right? So it's really that simple. SVGs work very well for any sort of vector graphic or icons, logos. Think of anything that you would normally make. You want an animated background, or you want an illustrated background, in your website, do it as a SVG. That way it can scale up or down, no loss or quality. So how do we make them? It's really quite simple. You make your artwork in Illustrator like normal, and all you do is do save as, and you can pick an SVG, name it whatever you want, hit save, and you do get this dialog box. This dialog box just basically says, look, we're going to save it as an SVG, right? We don't really want to mess with anything. We're doing a link for any images. So if you do have a raster image inside there, if for any reason your vector art has a JPEG inside of it, number one, I would not suggest using this for an SVG. But if you did insist on doing it, make sure you change it to embed. If you link, it's going to look for the link of that image. Again, I would not have any sort of raster image in a SVG unless it was absolutely necessary. And quite frankly, guys, I can't think of any reason why it would be necessary. But either way, you just hit OK, and there you go. Now, the fun thing is about SVGs, they're actually made up of code. So I'm just going to do this again so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to do it as an SVG, yes, replace. And right here you can see the SVG code. Literally, this is made up of a bunch of shapes in HTML. This is how we can scale these up and down. They're actually using shapes like the ellipse and a path. In another video, we can even talk about how we can use this code directly ourselves into our HTML to do some cool hover effects or to do some animations. But for now, basic simple use of an SVG. Save it, treat it like you would any other image, JPEG, GIF. You can use it as a background. You can use it as an image. You can shrink it. You can grow it. And it's just got some wonderful benefits.